I have two main purposes that I want to achieve today, but really they're the same. And that is that I want to tell you about a program that I'm a part of called the Texas Alternative to Abortion Services Program. And I want to make you proud Texans. Now that's a little redundant, I know, right? Proud Texans is redundant because Texans are proud by nature. But I want to share with you a little bit of what I do so that you can understand. Look, we're living right now in some difficult times, right? But I can tell you that whenever I interact with folks at organizations around the state of Texas that are doing work that is saving lives, it's an amazing experience. And I want to introduce you to some of those folks today. I want you to be able to walk away today, number one, understanding you're a proud Texan because your taxpayer dollars are going to help fund some of these organizations. And two, because these organizations are doing amazing work. There's a lot of false narrative out there about these organizations right now. My hope today is that I'm going to show you the true nature of these organizations, the incredible work that is being done all over the state of Texas, everywhere from way up in the Panhandle in Dumas, Texas, all the way down to Brownsville, and from Texarkana and Beaumont, all the way to El Paso. I work for Texas Pregnancy Care Network, and we have 170 locations around the state of Texas that are providing pro-life services to women and family in need. And they are doing amazing work. And I can't wait for you to meet some of these folks. So I'm going to be telling you about Texas Pregnancy Care Network as we go forward. But I want to introduce you to some of the folks that are actually doing the work on the ground that we are helping fund as we go through this presentation. So we're going to jump right into one of those right now so you can meet one of the clients that is going to tell you about the experience that she's had. This is a pregnancy center up in the Cisco area called the Open Door. And I'm excited for you to meet this client. I'm going to fast forward a little bit here and pick it up for about the last few minutes of it.
Help me realize that it's not just a seed. It's not just an egg. It's not just, it's a baby. I mean, when I went in, she was already formed. She was already formed and she was sucking her thumb. So, and her heartbeat was plain. Like, I mean, you could hear it clearly. And y'all turned up the volume even more. I remember we turned up the volume more. And she was just moving and I just couldn't. You can't. I wanted to have her. I wanted her from the beginning. But I was just, I guess, confused and didn't know at the time that it was going to be okay. And y'all's positive words and y'all's positive calls and the voicemails. Hey, this is Brittany. That's what I would hear. Hey, this is Brittany. Always a cheery. It gives you that sense of relief, that calmness, that it's going to be okay. That helps a lot. It helps a lot. And finally, at 36 weeks, she was born at 5:49, 10 pounds, 2 ounces. And I don't regret it. There's nothing I regret. Nothing at all. A couple of days later, I got a phone call and asked me how I was doing. How is she? And just asked me all sorts of questions, and I gave you all the answers and told y'all she's born, she weighed this much, and just amazed on how much she weighed. And then next week, y'all were gonna be in town, and if I could stop by. And I said, yes, ma'am. And I walked in, and y'all opened y'all's doors. one more time to us. One more time to us. And nothing but joy, like always. Happiness, love, understanding. Y'all don't know how much help y'all have given us. How much y'all have changed my life. We're nothing but good, and just, if it wasn't for y'all, she wouldn't be here. Anybody else who is going through what I went through and is still having trouble, I encourage them to just go to y'all, to the open doors, and y'all be there for them. I mean, through all of it. I mean, it ain't just a lot of people who are getting paid and just doing it just to do it because of their paycheck. No, it's because y'all care, because y'all love, and y'all show it. Y'all are there for them. I mean, y'all are there for us. Y'all have helped us so much. And anybody who is going through the same thing as I went through, I really encourage them just to stop by and take the chance. Just go in and meet y'all. That's all it takes, is just to walk in, and it'll be okay. With y'all's help, it'll be okay.
So that is our first client that I wanted you to meet. Again, she received care from the Open Door in Cisco, Texas. Cisco, the Open Door in Cisco, is one of the pregnancy centers in the state of Texas that is part of the Texas Alternative to Abortion Services program. My nonprofit organization, Texas Pregnancy Care Network, operates that program for the state of Texas. And it is a statewide, taxpayer-funded program. So I just want to stop there for a minute and make sure everybody understands that. Next time you go to Walmart and you're purchasing, or Target, or wherever you shop, and you're purchasing something and you're paying sales tax, part of that sales tax is coming into the general revenues of the state of Texas, and the general revenues of the state of Texas are funding a program that promotes childbirth as the natural outcome of a pregnancy. That program is being promoted in a big way. It's been around for 15 years in the state of Texas, and your legislature has continued to increase the funding for that program from day one. It wouldn't all be possible. We're talking a lot about heroes today. It wouldn't be possible without organizations like Texas Right to Life, that every single legislative session go in and talk to legislators about the needs of this program, and that they need to continue to fund this program across the state of Texas. So the whole nature of the program is essentially to help women feel supported in choosing childbirth. That's the whole nature of the program. And we have a network of providers all around the state that are providing these services, and our nonprofit organization is using the state funds to help fund these organizations, to help them provide services to young moms, to young families, to not only help them save the lives of their babies, but also to set them up for long-term success, to help set them up to be the parents that they were intended to be. That's what this program is all about. We reimburse for 4 types of services: counseling, material assistance, referrals, and education classes. So it's primarily a social service program. It's a social service program that educates the client on their options. It educates the client on how to be a great parent. It educates the client about adoption. It educates the client about all kinds of life skills, family budgeting, and other types of very important things that young families need to know to be successful. Services, this is one of the amazing things and one of my favorite things about the program. Services are available from the time the client is pregnant all the way up until 36 months postpartum. That's almost a 4-year continuum of services. You know, one of the criticisms of the pro-life movement is that it's all about save the baby, save the baby, save the baby. This program and the providers, 170 locations around the state, are not only saving babies, but they are setting moms up for success and young families up for success for the long haul. They are working with them. Those of you that are parents know that no day is the same as a parent, right? You think you just have it figured out. You know exactly what little Johnny needs, and then next day something else new comes up, right? These clients can continue to go back to these pregnancy centers and social service providers and ask for help and advice and parenting tips all the way up until the time the child turns 36 months. The program was created back in 2005, really by an effort that started with Texas Right to Life. They fought hard for this program and have continued to fight hard for it since the very beginning. The very first provider of this program was Annunciation Maternity Home, just up the road in Georgetown, Texas. They came on shortly after the program began, and they've been a provider with the program ever since. And it has been tremendously beneficial for them. As I said today, there's over 170 locations. There is a map showing where our clients come from around the state of Texas. It's mostly blue, and all those blue areas are essentially, we'll call it aqua. That's a little bit better, right? So we'll call it aqua. So those aqua areas, that's our clients come from those areas, and we are continuing to add additional locations even to serve those few counties that are white. But the most important thing to see on this slide is that the 214 counties that this program served last year accounted for over 99% of the abortions in the state of Texas. So our providers are where the abortions are occurring. They're where they need to be, and that is absolutely critical. Now I'm going to introduce you to another set of heroes up the road in Waco. This is going to give you a little more comprehensive look at an outstanding organization up in Waco called Carenet of Central Texas. The lady that is talking, that's the executive director, is an attorney. She's smart as can be, and she runs an amazing organization that not only helps women, but actually houses young families as well. So let me let you learn a little bit about Carenet of Central Texas.
Carenet is a crisis pregnancy center that helps women and men who are facing an unplanned pregnancy or one that they might not be prepared for.
A safe place for mothers and babies where you can come to regroup, get your life together, get on track.
We try to keep our services limited to those services that surrounding a family will allow them to not only have a baby, but for that baby to come into a strong and healthy, safe environment. And then we allow them to continue our services up to that child's 3rd birthday.
They're not just saving the baby, which they are saving the baby, but they're saving the mama too.
Our services involve helping women and men overcome whatever barriers they were facing that would cause them to think that they might not be able to continue the pregnancy. Not because they don't want a baby, but because either loss of job or maybe they don't have transportation. Housing is a huge issue. And then once the baby's born, how can we surround that family with the support so that that child is in a safe and stable environment? That's how we started adding all of our additional services to follow them. So now we know that moms and dads can't use food stamps to buy diapers, wipes, those kinds of things. So we knew that they needed those items, but we wanted to create a program where they not only got education on parenting and prenatal care, and then life skills like budgeting or time management, stress relief.
I came to some classes that have taught me about SIDS, about the baby sleeping alone in the crib, other things about breastfeeding, about car seat safety. So I'm basically keeping the baby safe.
So as we developed our education program, we tied incentives to those. They can use points that they earn to buy in our baby boutique those items like diapers, wipes, toiletries, blankets, hats, clothes. We developed a curriculum for them to graduate from, and when they graduate, they get a large item like a baby bed or a playpen. If dad comes, he gets additional points.
This is my 2nd class and her 3rd class that she's come to. So that way I could be some support of her, and that way she's not always doing all the work.
If grandma comes, she gets additional points because we want to encourage support around that family. We know that Carenet is here for them for the distance, but also they need more support than even we can offer.
The donations of baby stuff, mama stuff, money, time, volunteers, it never ceases to amaze me, the amount of stuff that comes in here freely. And then what happens is Carenet turns around and freely gives all that out.
One of the things that we could not seem to meet in the community was housing. There is no place for women to live who are pregnant with children if they're homeless. And so that's where we created the guest house program. And so we can house 28 women and children. We can take them same day. Most of them come in with maybe a garbage bag or two. I mean, they're truly homeless. We have women come in, we accept them, and we want them to leave here independent. And so what that means is they'll leave here with their transportation stabilized so that they can get to work and get kids to childcare. They'll have childcare that they can rely on, and they're not trading food stamps for grandma to keep them to, you know, this tangled web of things, but they are paying for quality childcare. We also help them find jobs. If they don't have GEDs, then that's the first thing on the agenda. Along with, many of them have legal issues like outstanding warrants because they were driving and didn't have a driver's license because they didn't have the money to pay for a driver's license because they were in such poverty. And that's one of those high priority things that we say, okay, let's get you a job, let's provide transportation for you, either with us or the city bus. Let's get those tickets paid off, let's get those warrants settled so that you're not afraid of the law, and when you need them, you call them. And then let's get your driver's license. We have people that donate cars to Carenet, so we get those cars and we give them to women, the next one that's, you know, available and ready to. Also, we help them, of course, with housing, not only here, but then we get them ready to apply for public housing, Section 8, or even apartments. Those are things that we know that if a woman is able to overcome those barriers, then she is set up for success.
We're not just giving diapers and wipes and the girls a place to live if they need it, but we're giving them a place to get healing for their soul, to come to terms with some things that maybe they've never come to terms with. We're giving them a time and a space for that through prayer, through teaching, so that when they're at the end of their journey with Carenet, they're going to be strong in the Lord. They're going to be strong to go out there and provide for their family. So it's the giving heart of God that I see flowing through this place.
It's changed my life. Whenever I moved in here, I was really, really lost. I've been so loved through the very, very hardest time of my life.
It's like love in action. You read it in the Bible all the time, but if you want to participate in love in action, you get yourself down here and you'll be able to do that.
All right, so my question for you, are you feeling proud? Yeah? That's amazing. It's amazing work that these organizations around the state of Texas are doing. Again, there are entire websites out there that are dedicated to spreading lies about these kinds of organizations. This is the truth. This is the work that is being done in every corner of the state of Texas. You talk about keeping you going. I get to travel out and meet these organizations, and if you don't believe in the goodness of man after seeing things like that, then something's wrong with you. It's an amazing work that is going on in every single part of the state of Texas. And again, your taxpayer dollars are helping this incredible work go on. Here's the enabling legislation that came about in 2005 saying that the Health and Human Services Commission shall expend these funds consistent with federal and state law to implement a statewide program for women seeking alternatives to abortion focused on pregnancy support services that promote childbirth. Remember, at the time, there were literally hundreds of millions of dollars going to help organizations that provide and promote abortions. This is a program that helps organizations that promote childbirth as the natural outcome of a pregnancy. It's such important work. Studies show that women who have had abortions reveal that if they would have received support at the time of their unexpected pregnancy, they would have carried their pregnancy to term. That's what these organizations are doing. They're stepping in and they're talking to that person who has just received news that maybe wasn't necessarily something that they were expecting, and they don't see a way out of that situation. And these organizations step in and help them with their needs and help connect them with things that can help them become great parents. This program is providing that missing support. So how does all this work? Well, so we have essentially fee-for-service contracts in place with these organizations around the state. That means that when they provide specific services, classes, education, counseling, material assistance, and referrals within the community, then they are reimbursed for those services. The more program reimbursable services they provide, the more they can benefit from the program. And of course, the ultimate beneficiary are the clients that are being helped. I want to introduce you to our next group of heroes. Again, we're going all over the state. We started up in the Cisco area, which is west of Fort Worth. We went down to Waco. Now we're going to go out far west to El Paso and meet an organization out there and one of their clients. The name of the organization is Guiding Star of El Paso.
The situation I was in wasn't ideal. My boyfriend and I were both not done with school, not financially ready to have a baby. We were both kind of being selfish and thinking what was best for us, and ultimately we were thinking abortion would be our best choice. When my boyfriend and I were going through our options, I really didn't want to stick to abortion. I didn't want to do that without expanding my knowledge on everything around me. So I had gone to Google, of course, and unplanned pregnancies popped up. And of course, I went Unplanned Pregnancies, El Paso, and Guiding Stars was the first. So I clicked on Guiding Star, and it showed that they offered free ultrasounds, pregnancy tests, and counseling, even with couple counseling. I guess more to explore our options. And that was kind of liberating to know that I can go somewhere and, I guess, expand my knowledge. Once I called, I was greeted with a very friendly voice, and they told me to come on in and that they're here for me. And so when I showed up again, I was welcomed with open arms, and it was very relieving, and I felt like an immediate warmth walking in, and I didn't feel as scared. I just felt more comforted than anything. So finding out that I was going to have a little girl, I feel like it empowered me more, and I get to give the life that I guess I kind of always wanted to this little girl. And I think that's really exciting that I get to be that for somebody. Guiding Star staff was beyond helpful. The fact that they were able to give me an ultrasound to see my little baby really changed my life, because in that moment, I think I can't even have another word to describe it other than life-changing, because if it wasn't for Guiding Star, I wouldn't have seen her, and I don't think I would have felt the need and want to be a mom, even though my situation wasn't what I wanted. So I thank God for Guiding Star, honestly, because if they didn't show me the warmth that they did and have the resources that I wouldn't have had otherwise, I don't know where I'd be right now. So the question is, would I recommend Guiding Star to my family and friends? I mean, yes, of course, but not only to them, to any woman who is in a situation like mine, or maybe something a little bit more difficult. This is the best choice that I could have made, because without Guiding Star, I don't know if I would be having my daughter, honestly. And that's really hard to think about. Now I'm going to have a daughter in 2 months. I'm going to watch a little human being grow up and have the world as her own, and I think that's the most amazing thing for anybody. Hi, I'm Jacqueline. I came to Guiding Star in April of this past year.
So you hear the stories directly out of the clients' mouths. And again, obviously these are not actors or actresses. These are real clients telling their story about how these organizations changed their lives, saved the life of their baby, and really made, as she so wonderfully said, life-changing changes for them. Let me talk a little bit about the funding levels. Again, none of this would have been possible without Jim and Elizabeth Graham from the very beginning supporting this program and really fighting for this program from the very beginning. The program has grown and grown and grown. Our funding budget this year is $34.7 million. That is more. There are other programs out there in other states, but that is more than all the other state programs combined. Let me say that again. More dollars in Texas than all the other state programs combined going to help organizations like you've met today. Thanks to heroes like Texas Right to Life, the Grahams, and everybody that's a part of Texas Right to Life. There has been very consistent support in the Texas legislature for this program. I will tell you that every single time the legislature meets, they have to approve the funding for this program. And every single time the legislature meets, there are amendments introduced to strip the funding from this program and take this funding away. But because of a very supportive legislative body, as well as organizations that educate those legislators like Texas Right to Life, that funding has continued to grow. In fact, it's increased every single legislative session since the program began. This shows you the number of clients that have been served throughout the years of the program and how it's grown over time. You see just last year this huge spike in growth of the program, going up to over 67,000 clients receiving services from organizations around the state of Texas. And this is amazing service that they're receiving, just like the testimonials that you're hearing about today. They're learning incredible, valuable lessons, life-changing lessons, over 67,000. And those are just the parents. Those don't even include the children. Over 67,000 parents have received services just last year. And then you see the number of visits. Obviously, clients come back for services many times. And so those 67,000 clients last year made 265,000 visits to the network. So it's having a big impact across the state of Texas. It's doing its job. Let me tell you a little bit about what was accomplished last year. We oversee the program, we provide the funding, but the organizations around the state, you have one very likely just within a few miles from your home because they're everywhere, all over the state. This is what those organizations, those 170 locations did just last year. Clients received counseling, mentoring about pregnancy over 89, almost 90,000 times. Clients received education materials and information about pregnancy, stuff that they could take home with them, 45,000 times. Clients attended pregnancy classes about what does healthy pregnancy look like, that type of class, over 7,000 times. Clients received counseling, mentoring about parenting 186,000 times last year. Clients received education materials and information about parenting 43,000 times. Clients attended parenting classes over 41,000 times last year. Clients attended classes to help with life skills or budgeting 244,000 times last year. Clients received employment readiness training 72,000 times last year. Clients received over 1 million material assistance items. Over 1 million material assistance items, clothing, formula, food, diapers, pacifiers, all those things that parents need. Over 1 million distributions last year. And clients received or were referred for adoption services almost 9,000 times last year. Again, this work is possible because of the program, because of the Texas legislature, and because of you and Texas Right to Life continuing to talk to the legislators about the importance of this program. You guys are making this happen. All those organizations are on the front lines actually delivering those services. And of course, the biggest statistic that I want to share with you today, as client support has grown, the number of abortions, thankfully, in the state of Texas is declining. Now, this is not just because of our work. This is because of the work of all the things that Texas Right to Life has done. But I promise you that the 67,000 clients that were served last year, that made a big impact on continuing decreasing number of abortions. Keep in mind, this is occurring while the growth of the state of Texas is exploding. We are every single year the fastest growing state in the nation. And so despite that growth, the number of abortions is falling. I have one more organization that I want to introduce you to. This is down in the huge metropolitan area of Houston, a fantastic organization that is primarily located in African American neighborhoods in downtown in the 5th Ward of Houston. And I want to share the story of this client and how she was touched by the services that were provided by Houston Pregnancy.
6 years old, and I have 2 kids. I have a 3-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter. I had my cycle September 7th, and I was so happy because I recently got off of birth control. I had my cycle, and then my daughter's birthday is October 4th, and she just made 1. So to have a daughter or child that's gonna be 1, and to kind of feel that you're pregnant and have another child, you have so many people looking at you like you're not gonna make it. I actually found out I was pregnant October 2nd, 2 days before her birthday. And I went to like a 99-cent store, got the pregnancy test. I snuck in the house with my mom because I stayed with my mom, and I went in the restroom and I took the pregnancy test. It said positive. I was happy but shocked, and I kind of stuck it back in my purse, and I went outside to tell the kid's father, and he was like, "You're not ready for another baby. This is not what we need. I can't take care of a third child. Like, you can't afford this." It's like my feelings was forced to go another way. Everything was kind of taken away from me at that moment because I was like, well, maybe I'm not gonna be able to afford this baby. I felt that I'm not gonna be able to be a mom to this baby. And so some told me, just go to the free pregnancy clinic. So I came to the pregnancy clinic and I did the results. And there was this nice lady that just talked to me. And she was like, well, you are pregnant and your due date is June 15th. I went to go do my ultrasound, and it was this nice lady, the ultrasound lady. I was sitting there and I seen the ultrasound and I just seen the baby. And at that moment, I wanted to keep the baby. She said, there go the heartbeat. There was another life that was inside of me that's growing. And I said, I can't make this life suffer. And I knew just from that point on, me having that baby, I'd be able to get far. The baby would be able to get far no matter what. And that changed my life just from that ultrasound picture. And I have the picture now with the baby. It's only 8 weeks and like 3 days. And I'm just like so excited for that. Deep inside, I think I needed to come to this place because like I tell you, once I met that lady, she pulled in something that was deeper inside of me, my true feelings. He ripped them away from me. And when I talked to her, she like, no, this is what you need to do. This is who you are. You don't need to change. So me coming back to the center, it brought family, it brought love, something I did not have. You know, with this pregnancy, it's only 2 people that know that I'm pregnant. I can't tell anyone because I'll be judged. And people are gonna say, what are you gonna do? I'm 26. And people are gonna say, how are you gonna make it? What you gonna do? I'm not gonna watch that baby. I'm not gonna take care of this baby. How you gonna make it? The only person I really talk to is the lady at the center. She's the only one that's there for me through my pregnancy.
So I want you to think back to those studies that we talked about earlier, the fact that they show that the main reason why women have an abortion is a lack of support. You've heard from 4 great examples, and believe me, there are thousands more out there. We obviously don't have time to share all the great stories that I have with you today, but these are 4 examples of an organization where a woman was lacking support, was seriously considering abortion. And because of the support that was provided by the pregnancy center, the provider that she went to, she ended up making a choice for life. Is that the easy choice? No, it's not the easy choice. It's a harder, it's a long-term choice, something that takes a lot of work. But did you hear anybody say they regretted it? No. Nobody regretted it. Everybody was thrilled that they had received the support to help them understand the importance of the decision and to make that life-changing decision. That's what is happening all around the state of Texas, really on a daily basis. It's happening. You should be proud of that. It's happening in your communities on a daily basis. And all the garbage that you hear, all the lies that you hear about these organizations, don't believe it for a second. You know what they're about? They're about connecting with people. They're about loving the people that walk through their door. They're about supporting them, meeting them where they are, and helping them get through their struggles in any way that they can. That's what these organizations do. That's what this program is all about. And we are so fortunate to live in a state that is willing to fund this type of program, like the Texas Alternative to Abortion Services program. So with that, I will wrap up. We'll see if you have any questions, anything that I can answer for you, but it's been a pleasure to be with you here. Again, we're so fortunate to have a partnership with Texas Right to Life, who really started this program from the beginning, and we're very, very thankful for their continued support of this program. So with that, thanks very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Sean, for being here with us today. We do have a few questions for you.
Great.
And to remind all of you again, if you have questions for John, please submit them through the Boots on the Ground app. So the first question we have for you is, in what ways has Planned Parenthood and the abortion industry attacked the Texas Pregnancy Care Network?
It's a great question. So how have we been attacked? You know, part of the reason why our board of directors decided that a lawyer needs to operate Texas Pregnancy Care Network is because there are attacks on our organization. They come from organizations like you just mentioned. They come from lobby groups, from the abortion lobby groups. They come from, quite frankly, the media quite a bit. It happens all the time. And it's really just spreading false information, spreading lies about the program. You know, I talked about every single time that the legislature meets that amendments are introduced to strip the funding away. And legislators even will stand on, that oppose the program, will stand on the floor and even say, well, I just don't think this program does anything. I don't think that they actually give anything that's helpful. I just shared all the statistics with you, and those statistics are readily available. It's public information, those statistics are. Anybody who wants to see those statistics can find those statistics. So they say things like, it's not evidence-based. It doesn't have any outcomes. It's not really helping. It really doesn't do anything. Those are the kinds of lies that we hear. And as much as we put the statistics out there, they continue to say those kinds of things.
What is the biggest obstacle to procuring funding for the TPCN?
The biggest obstacle, it's a really good question. I think it is, it's probably, quite frankly, the lies and the misinformation that's out there. You know, I think that makes it very, very difficult. But the good news is that the folks that support the pro-life movement, the legislators that are on our side, they know that those are just lies as well. And so they have a tendency to be able to look through those things and know that they're not really true. There were some things in the beginning, you know, when we started 15 years ago, not all these organizations really thought that it almost sounded too good to be true, that they could receive the funding. They weren't sure if they were going to be, you know, raided by the government if they took the funding or those kinds of things. But the great thing about TPCN is that we help really be a go-between these organizations and the government. And so we interface with the government primarily, and these organizations then can continue to do their work on a day-to-day basis and not have to worry as much about the government bureaucracy that sometimes comes with that.
How much money does the Texas Pregnancy Care Network need to be fully funded in the upcoming budget that the legislature will debate this session?
It's a great question. You know, we are growing extraordinarily, as you just saw from the graphics that we showed and the number of clients that are being served. We still have a waiting list of organizations that would like to receive this funding. And so we believe that we need a substantial increase in funding. There has been a proposal to, one of the chambers has said essentially keep the funding level. The other chamber has said increase the funding slightly. But we're asking really for at least a 20 to 25% increase in the funding to be able to get all the organizations that would like to be a part of this program onto the program.
Great. For people who are here today or watching via live stream and who are interested in law and politics, what are some ways that they can help the Texas Pregnancy Care Network?
You know, probably the best thing that you can do is to, first of all, I think, get involved with your local center. I mean, we are a statewide organization. I think that getting involved with your local pregnancy center or pro-life organization, volunteering there so that you really understand what's going on in those organizations on a day-to-day basis is the first thing. The second thing, I think, is talking to your legislators, letting them know, have a relationship with them, and let them know that this funding is incredibly important. I think that that's very, very important as well. And then just getting the word out, letting people know that a lot of the information that's out there about these types of organizations is false. And let people know about the great work that these organizations are doing.
Do you have any statistics of exactly how many lives have been saved through centers who are recipients of the money from Texas Pregnancy Care Network?
It's a really good question. We really try to allow the individual programs be able to tell those stories themselves. That's obviously one of the most important statistics. It's also, quite frankly, it's a statistic that is very hard to track. It is something that you hear a lot about babies' lives saved and things like that. But it is something that we think is probably best told at the local level instead of trying to talk about that on a statewide level. What we know for certain, what we know absolutely without question, is that 67,000 parents were served last year, and many, many of those made choices for life. But as far as making actual claims as to lives saved, obviously that's very much the objective, but it's a difficult thing to measure, and we prefer our providers to really communicate. So I would just say, if you have questions about that, check with your local provider, ask them that question, let them provide that information.
What is the process for a pregnancy center or another organization that would want to become part of TPCN?
It's a great question. So in order to make sure that the work that you just heard about from these videos continues at the level that you just heard about, the standards are very high for this program. So in order to come on board for the program, they do have to go through an onboarding process where we ensure that they are going to continue to do things the right way, just like you heard about today. And ultimately, that helps the program as a whole. That's part of the reason why the program has grown substantially since day one, is because the standards are so high. And so it does take a little bit of work. They do have to go through a process where they show that their policies and procedures are in place, that they're doing everything in the most upstanding, correct ways, that they're respecting confidentiality, all of those very important things for organizations. But if anybody is interested or knows of somebody that they think could benefit from this program, you can please contact us and let us know. Our website is texaspregnancy.org, and you can get a hold of us from that website. So please let us know.
Okay, I think that's all the time we have for questions today. Thank you so much again, John.
My pleasure. Thank you, everybody. It's great to be with you.